Patriots and Chiefs in Kansas City. Like we said earlier, these are going to be frigid conditions around 0, not 0 Celsius, 0 Fahrenheit. So it is going to be cold. It's going to be a different style of football. Probably a lot of running, not as much of the passing, and with two teams that passed a lot either during the regular season or the Patriots in their last game against the Chargers. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a completely different game. I'll give my opinion first since you gave your opinion on the other game first. The line is Kansas City by 3, so similar to New Orleans. They are at home. You have New England, who everyone thought, like Tom Brady, kind of sucked going in this game and thought the Chargers had a real chance to beat them. That did not happen. The Patriots mauled them, beat the crap out of the Los Angeles Chargers with a fantastic game plan at home. I believe after that win, they are 9-0 at home, but they're not playing the game at home this weekend. They're playing in Kansas City, and on the road they were 3-5. Okay, they did beat Kansas City way earlier in the year. High-scoring game, kind of was one of those games where whoever got the ball last ended up winning. That is what happened, so I'm not going to put that game too much into the
And it was at home.
Yeah, it was at home. It was one of their undefeated wins. So this team is completely different on the road than at home. They also don't get, like we said with the 1-2 seeds, they don't get to game plan as much because you had to game plan for the Chargers. Chargers were a legitimate team. And so I think with this one, I think the Chiefs definitely have an advantage. Staying home, getting used to that frigid weather. Not that Boston isn't cold either, but still, this is a whole different animal. And if the Kansas City Chiefs are sitting there getting used to that, maybe even possibly practicing in that weather one of the days before the games, I think they have a clear advantage. And that is why I'm going to say the Kansas City Chiefs are going to find a way to win this game. Like I said, it feels like Drew Brees' year. It feels like the Kansas City Chiefs' year. This feels like back in 2015 when the Denver Broncos were able to pull it out at home against the New England Patriots. The Patriots just don't seem like a Super Bowl team this year. They were able to beat the Chargers. That wasn't totally out of the idea. We all both picked the Patriots last week. I just think the Chiefs have too much firepower, and their defense will step up like they did last week. So I'm going to go Chiefs over the Patriots. The Chiefs making the Super Bowl and it being the New Orleans Saints versus the Kansas City Chiefs in Atlanta. That's my prediction. If I had to throw out a score, I'm going to go 21-17 Kansas City.
All right. So for me, I'm just going to flat out and say it. Chiefs are winning this game. The Patriots, like you mentioned, because of all the stats that you just gave out, and like I said this before the playoffs started, the Patriots need to get home field advantage throughout. And they did not.
Yeah.
Now that they have to travel to Kansas City, right? You mentioned it. They're 3-5 on the road in the regular season, and they just don't look like the same team on the road for whatever reason. I don't know why. They're just not comfortable traveling. I know they don't have the same exact team as they've had in the past. But guess what? You still have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And if I know one thing about Bill Belichick, it's that he's had his eye on Kansas City this whole time. When you're now going up against the number 1 seed, not only in division but in the conference, you have to somewhat project and look a little bit forward. So obviously, last week the Patriots were mainly focused on the Chargers. But whether it was Bill Belichick himself or some, kind of lower members of his staff, someone was already scouting for the Chiefs, right? You have to. That's how it is. You can't go into this with only having 5 or 6 days of game planning. You have to already have some type of preparation started. In saying all that, I think, like you mentioned, I think this feels like it's the Chiefs' time, right? They have home field. They deserve to have home field throughout. I think the rest of having that week off last week really helped Tyreek Hill, who was nursing an ankle injury, and it also helped Sammy Watkins, who was nursing some injuries right there. So you have Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and then kind of out of nowhere, you had Damian Williams, right, who has kind of been bounced around from team to team throughout his early NFL career. And last week, he ran for like $130 and 3 touchdowns. Or I think like a couple touchdowns. So this kid right now is stepping up in the Kareem Hunt absence and really making it look like Kareem Hunt was never there.
Absolutely.
Right? So their running game is still as prolific as ever, along with that ridiculously good passing game. Now, like you mentioned, the elements and the weather are going to affect how much both of these teams pass. But I think Patrick Mahomes, I'm not putting anything past this kid. The way that he can throw sidearm and he throws on the move and he throws no-look passes. I don't expect anything less than a 250 to 300-yard game with a couple touchdowns.
Even in the frigid cold, too. Yeah.
And I think the Chiefs, at the end of the day, pull one out. This won't be a type of game where it's whoever has the ball last wins. I think the Chiefs, as the third quarter and the fourth quarter go on, will kind of pull this game away. In the first half, I think it's going to be very, very close. Both teams are going to be a little timid, trying to figure each other out, figure out what works and what doesn't in these temperatures. And as the second half goes on, I think the Chiefs, with that home field advantage, will be able to pull away. Make no mistake, even though the Chiefs play technically outside, it's actually been recorded the Chiefs have the loudest stadium in the NFL. So that will be a huge factor for Tom Brady and that offense. They're not going to be able to hear each other. They're going to have hand-sign communication, because Tom Brady, whatever he says, there's no way that he will be able to communicate that to his players. So that's going to play a role in this game, and that's something that you're going to have to watch for.